know. The name is no.
Welcome to Three Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw from February the 26th, 2023. A whole bowl of nothing took place on this show. They're just having weeks and weeks of nothing happens. So we're going to do news and notes. Then we're going to go through the show. Let's go through news and notes. Ole Anderson, the original Four Horsemen, Minnesota Wrecking Crew, passed away. He was 81 years old. For the purposes of most people who are WWE fans, you've never seen Ole Anderson on a WWE broadcast for a pretty good reason. The important thing that you need to know about Ole Anderson wasn't that he was just one of the original Four Horsemen. It was also that he was one of the owners of Georgia Championship Wrestling. And I think 1983, when Vince bought the territory and created Black Saturday. So the way it happened is that this was how it came from Ole Anderson's book, is that the bylaws for Georgia Championship Wrestling essentially said that the company could only really be sold to outsiders. But first, you had to offer your shares to people within the consortium. Because it was a consortium of people. It was Ole Anderson. It was Jim Barnett. It was the Briscoe brothers. And by Briscoe brothers, I mean Gerald Briscoe and his brother, Jack Briscoe. Okay? So, it was a couple of other guys that were involved with this as well. So apparently Vince somehow convinced Jim Barnett and Gerald Briscoe and Jack Briscoe to all sell their shares. Well, I guess they collected the shares first because 51% of the people had to make the decision. So somehow Vince got 51% of Georgia Championship Wrestling and essentially booted Ole Anderson out of the promotion. Then Ole Anderson, it's just a rumor that he destroyed all the tapes, which is why there is not that much Georgia Championship Wrestling in the WWE vault. Some of it is that he recorded over them. Some that say that he smashed them. Some say he just didn't keep up with them or that he hid them from Vince or whatever. But there was a great deal of heat between the two parties after that. Of course, after Black Saturday, which is where Vince took over TBS, he ended up selling it to Jim Crockett in 1984 or something like that, 1985. So Ole Anderson is a very important in-ring talent, very important outside the ring talent. He used to book for WCW. Not very well liked by many guys, even including some guys that he was in the business with, guys like Ric Flair and guys like Arn, and he was just a very prickly, just a Cotton Hill kind of guy, But Ole Anderson is very important, and his death should not be overshadowed. All right, so talking about people who shouldn't be overshadowed, there are no announcements for the Hall of Fame. This is very distressing, because I'm saying to myself, we should have started announcing Hall of Famers a long time ago. They have not discussed the Hall of Fame yet. I haven't even seen any inkling or any conversation about Hall of Fame yet. I saw one article where I guess somebody asked Lex Luger about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I hope I can get in one day." But they're not talking, like, they got about a month, and they're not talking about Hall of Fame yet. They should have been talking about the Hall of Fame. They should have been talking about the Hall of Fame for right after the Royal Rumble or something like that. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know. Seems a little weird to me that we've been doing this Hall of Fame thing for so long that now all of a sudden everybody's hush about it and nobody's even asking any questions. Nobody's even asking the question about what's up with the Hall of Fame. Very odd decision making. All right, let's get into Monday Night Raw. So Dominic Mysterio booed out of the building. He introduces Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley gives a spiel about Elimination Chamber. She gets interrupted by the incredibly shrinking Becky Lynch. I mean, Becky Lynch she's fading away. I have no idea why she's so skinny, but she is. She's super skinny. and she looks very small now. And they go about back and forth about how they're successful at Elimination Chamber. And then Rhea Ripley drops the bomb that behind every man is a greater woman. But I'm not behind you because mommy's always on top. And that's pretty much it. At that point, Nia Jax attacks Becky Lynch, beats her up, drops her with 2 leg drops. I don't really necessarily like how Becky Lynch sells the leg drops, because if somebody is that big and they drop on you, I don't know if you should be flopping. I think you should be flat, but I don't know. Anyway, that was the setup that Nia Jax doesn't think that Becky Lynch should have had the Elimination Chamber match, or shouldn't be having the match at WrestleMania, rather. It should be her. She had Rhea Ripley beat. They have the match later tonight. Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax. And Nia Jax is just destroying Liv Morgan. She's so tiny. This actually was a not terrible match. They found a style that works for Nia Jax, where basically she doesn't have to sell that much. She doesn't have to do that much. She doesn't really go down. And she works with people who are smaller, because pretty much everybody's smaller. And she just does very simple Mark Henry-esque offense. You know, like she steps on your back, leg drops, that kind of thing. And it's not that intricate. So that works. Anyway, she had a decent match with Liv Morgan. When Becky Lynch attacked Nia Jax, there was a mini brawl between the two before they were separated, and Nia Jax bailed out. Afterwards, Liv Morgan approached Becky Lynch to yell at her about getting her disqualified, and said that not everything revolves around Becky Lynch. So, Liv Morgan is going to have the opinion of her stands, and that is Becky Lynch is selfish and hogging up all the spotlight and all this stuff. Okay, they were looking for a way to turn Liv Morgan heel because she's dead in the water as a babyface, but she's even more dead as a heel, if we're being honest. At least as a babyface, she's got some wiggle room. But I guess this is what they plan to do. Good luck with that. Good luck. In terms of build for Rhea and Becky, I don't think that was really all that effective. I mean, the fact that Becky Lynch is a babyface, and they just turned Rhea babyface, and now they're trying to turn her back heel by putting her back with Dominic to get the boos. And I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work. But they got a month to figure it out, to make it work. Sami Zayn defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. Okay. Sami Zayn was very excited about this, said that he needed this win, he needed this momentum. And this began the all-night thing of various guys wanting to fight Gunther. You had Sami Zayn, who was approached by Gunther, who laughed in his face. Andrade's backstage hanging out with Dominic. You know, Andrade's trying to figure out who his first opponent's going to be. And, of course, you know, there's some teasing about it being Gunther. Dominic Mysterio himself actually challenged Gunther. I love that. I thought that was great. The Judgment Day and Imperium, they had a thing where Gunther was talking about being the Intercontinental Champion, greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. I think, and then Judgment Day comes out there, and then Damian Priest gets in Gunther's face, and so Gunther says, "Okay, well, you're not going to use your money in the bank on me. So which one of you guys is it going to be? It's going to be Finn Balor. It's going to be the big head guy over here. Like, which one of you going to be?" So then Dominic steps up and gets in Gunther's face. There's some shoving back and forth between and Damian Priest just loses his mind. He promises that the Judgment Day is going to have a clean sweep at WrestleMania, just like they had a clean sweep at Elimination Chamber, and they're going to win the Intercontinental Championship, and he needs to be held back from trying to fight Gunther. He's very upset about Gunther being an Intercontinental Champion. So Chad Gable brought up his family again, said that Gunther made his daughter cry. For him, it's about more than just a championship. And I like this. You know, it's still teasing the Jey Uso thing. So I like this. They're planning to do a lot. There was some discussion that they're going to have some kind of multi-man match at the Royal Rumble. I mean, at the Royal Rumble. At WrestleMania, featuring Gunther. I think that's a mistake. I saw somebody on the internet produce a better idea, which is for them to do some kind of multiple man match in which the winner fights Gunther on night 2. I think that's probably better. If you was to do, I don't want to say a ladder match because you got Money in the Bank already. You don't really need a ladder match. But let's say you do a showcase or a battle royal or a 6-pack challenge. Let's do a 6-pack challenge. And the winner of the 6-pack challenge wrestles Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship on night 2. I like that idea. You know, you could have Dominic, you could have Gable, Andrade, Bronson Reed, all the mid card guys who you have nothing for. You can come up with 5 or 6 of those guys and throw them in one match and maybe do elimination style, and then have the winner, who I would suggest to be Chad Gable, wrestle Gunther on night 2, and that could be so much better. That could be interesting. But the Gunther stuff was the best stuff on the show because it actually shows that they're taking the whole path to WrestleMania stuff very seriously. What I don't take seriously is Imperium versus New Day street fight. I did not want to watch this, didn't care about it. I've seen these guys fight way too much, and I'm burned out on New Day. So Imperium won, which was a surprise, but I'm also not surprised because New Day. I mean, it is what it is. All right, Chelsea Green was defeated by Raquel Rodriguez with a Tejana Bomb. The match lasted about 3.5 minutes. In any event, that was it for Raquel Rodriguez. She just had to get her heat back because she lost. Okay. So Cody Rhodes talked about The Rock slapping him. Rock slapped me, I challenged him. Then he says that Grayson Waller has a ton of skills, and he's been giving Grayson Waller the rub. Gave him a couple of good scoops on his show, and now he's going to give him his first Raw main event. And then he proceeds to beat Grayson Waller in the main event, which is, duh. It is what it is. So Grayson Waller defeated by Cody Rhodes. Austin Theory is there the whole time. Doesn't say anything, doesn't really do anything, has no involvement in the match, nothing. He's just present. After the match is when things get interesting, because Paul Heyman is there. And Heyman is there with suspended NYPD officers, which is hilarious. So he's got 3 suspended NYPD officers, and they're with him. And he is there to beg Cody Rhodes to withdraw this challenge at The Rock, to which Cody says no, and he's not going to withdraw the challenge, and he wants to find out what's going to happen if he doesn't. So Cody Rhodes has a chair to keep back all these guys, and Heyman is trying to approach, and Cody's being very defensive. He's like, if this is a bloodline thing, come and get me. And they're like, there's no bloodline thing. So Cody once again reiterates that he has not dragged The Rock in the media. He hasn't talked trash about him because he also comes from a family where selling tickets is how food is put on the table, and nobody sold more tickets than The Rock. But he's tired of these guys. He's not going to let these guys push him around. So no, he is not going to withdraw that challenge to The Rock. And it is what it is. So he ended up beating up the security guys, of course. So then Paul Heyman has 2 phones, and he's talking into both phones at the same time, and the phones are stacked on top of each other. One is Cole Roman Reigns. The other one is Cole The Rock. And he's got the 2 phones stacked on top of each other, and he's talking to both of them at the same time, apparently. And it's just so ludicrous that it's worth mentioning. It's just so ridiculous that he's talking to both guys at the same time. It's absolutely nonsense. Talk about nonsense. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark defeat Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell in probably the most pointless match to take place in the entire month of February, outside of whatever tag team thing that was on Collision, which was equally a useless endeavor that actually probably lost business more than gained it. Anyway, R-Truth is backstage. I will remember you. Will you remember me? Hanging out in the Judgment Day's locker room with t-shirts. And here comes The Miz and DIY. I did not like this segment because I don't like that R-Truth thinks that Johnny Gargano is Shawn Michaels. This is where I'm like, all right, even R-Truth's comedy can't make this work. In any event, they're planning to get revenge on Judgment Day. And R-Truth says they call them Regeneration X. I don't know. Nope. Nope. You can't make this interesting. I'm not going to let you do this. I'm not going to let you do it. Sorry. Drew McIntyre. He came out there. He cut a promo. Talked about having a busted eardrum at Elimination Chamber and said, I'm not CM Punk. Nothing's going to stop me from winning the world title at WrestleMania. Then he sits Indian style in the ring, trolling CM Punk. He dared the cameraman to shoot him upskirt, which thank God he didn't do. Then he called out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins congratulated Drew, said he's finally got the opportunity to do what he's always wanted to do, which is win the world championship in front of a huge crowd. But then Drew McIntyre says he wants Seth Rollins at 100%, and he's begging Seth Rollins to mind his own business. Stay out of SmackDown's business. You shouldn't want anything to do with SmackDown. Move on. Focus on Raw. Focus on your world championship. Seth Rollins then tries to explain to Drew McIntyre that is his business for some odd reason. That he's been selfish his entire career. It's time for him finally to do something for somebody else. So Drew McIntyre might be right, and the Bloodline might kick his ass and soften him up and cost him the world title, even though Drew McIntyre is more upset about the idea of his victory being tainted. He doesn't really like that idea. Outside of that, he doesn't really care about this shit. But Seth Rollins is saying it's time for him to start doing stuff for other people. His daughter taught him that there are things bigger than himself. There are things bigger than the world championship, and bringing down the Bloodline is bigger than the world title, because eventually the Bloodline is going to come for the world title. He also mentioned getting to the top of the mountain and feeling empty because he thought that you had to be up there alone. So it was basically time for a change for Seth Rollins, and he's trying to show some maturity of character. That, being the visionary, being the revolutionary, being the backstabber, getting this far by yourself, it's unfulfilling. And it's time now to do things that are fulfilling. This is a very good, complex, layered story here, because Drew is technically correct. This is not Seth Rollins' battle to fight. He shouldn't be, shoehorning himself into Bloodline issues. He should focus on his own world title. It would be sensible for him to not want to work that match and get injured. But Seth Rollins is on, I guess you could say, a path of redemption. Considering, in a sense, Seth Rollins created Roman Reigns, and he gives himself all the credit for the creation of Roman Reigns. And, bringing Roman Reigns in, teaching him everything that he knows. But also, in betraying Roman Reigns way back there in the Shield, that created some of what would later become the tribal chief. Only really trusting his family and not wanting anything to do with outsiders and stuff like this. So there is some element there of really good truth. And I like it. I like the how layered it is. And it's sensible. I know it's just a way of elevating Seth Rollins because, for God's sakes, the guy's just been stuck in this position for years. But, okay, I'm willing to deal with this. Drew McIntyre wasn't done, however. Jey Uso was backstage. Says that he keep falling short whether it's winning singles championships, tag team titles, or anything else. There's always somebody trying to hold him back, and either it's strangers or his own damn family. And then Drew McIntyre walked up to him and says he can relate to what Jey is going through, and Jey deserves it. To which they start fighting. Okay, because Drew McIntyre has not forgotten that this whole thing is Jey Uso's fault. He's not WWE champion right now because of Jey Uso. So he hasn't forgotten, and that's good. So that's pretty much the entire show. The interesting bits featured during the Intercontinental Championship, specifically, and I don't think I mentioned this, that Dominic Mysterio challenging Gunther concerned Rhea Ripley. She was like, "You're going to challenge Gunther?" He's like, yeah, I got this. You know, like, yeah, I got this I got this one handled. And she's like, what? I like that because it's like, she's finally showing that she doesn't 100% trust Dominic with anything or whatever. That he might be chasing waterfalls in this situation here. So that was fun. So the Gunther stuff is fun. Most of the people who are trying to challenge him are sensible contenders. So that's good. The McIntyre Rollins stuff, I like that because there's multiple layers. That's good. Paul Heyman and Cody, interesting. I wish they would have done it earlier and had some time to really build on it. But whatever. The rest of the show, basura. I don't know what's going on with Becky Lynch and why she's shrinking every week. Those women tag team championships, I don't know. They're garbage. The actual WWE tag team titles, I think Awesome Truth are probably going to end up being the guys who win those belts. But they're also putting Imperium in place. So perhaps they're going to do another one of those silly tag team showcases where it's going to be like Imperium and the Creed Brothers and New Cage Republic and, DIY and all of those guys trying to work together to get the tag team titles off of the Judgment Day. And they also went back to teasing Damian Priest being a good guy again. So they went away from it for a while. Now they're going back to it. That perhaps Damian Priest is going to be turning babyface in the attempt to take the Intercontinental Championship away from Gunther. Also, I don't know about that. I wouldn't hate that, but this guy's been such a waste as a Money in the Bank winner. He's been either losing or stuck in mid-card shit the entire time. He hasn't been mixing it up with the main event guys like ever. So it's hard to buy into Damian Priest right now. He's definitely going to need some rehab if you're going to make this guy anything in terms of being a world champion. But I like the Judgment Day Imperium stuff. That was good. Interesting wrinkles for Dominic. So, again, it's another show where there's no real surprises. There's nothing that really develops. Everything moves at a glacial pace. And there's just a bunch of matches on the show. At least the matches had somewhat of a meaning, but it's just still a bunch of matches. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason why these sleazy